just kind of wanted to explain because I've been talking to a lot of new people, a lot of the new members and stuff, and I just kind of a lot of them are getting familiar with their dashboard, but I just kind of wanted to give them my insight as far as another rep's perspective
Yeah.
of how to. I mean, you can go into your dashboard and do whatever you want, but I
Mhm.
was just kind of giving a perspective of like when I come into my dashboard every morning, or when I check my dashboard, I have a routine, and that being that routine really got me familiar with the dashboard and how I use it, and how I
Right.
utilize it, and that's why I came with that concept of creating multiple ad channels, but being able to, instead of creating an ad channel for every single product. I mean, that's a lot of numbers to keep track of,
Right.
especially when you're not, I'm not posting. We have a lot of products, so my posts are all over the board. You want to make sure you throw in educational videos. You want to make sure that you throw in, your talk about our Sezzle program, talk about our military, as far as our products and our videos and everything that we have to offer. And just by doing that, looking back, now that it's April, I'm looking back at my chart, and I'm seeing that probably the majority of the clicks that I got, I think, were educational videos. I mean, there's been a lot of times where I might miss a day or might miss a click because I don't get to my computer or nothing like that, but I still can say I can drop back and look at like where did I have the most clicks from. So like you take for instance, I'll say the 3500 milligram or even the 1500 milligram, instead of posting or creating an ad for all the milligrams of the CBD oil, I'll have it just under one category. So that way, when I scroll over to that date that I use, I can just put in, and I have it color coordinated. So I can put the color in, say orange is Facebook. So I'll put that orange in knowing that I posted on Facebook. And that day I posted about the 3500 milligram, or maybe I put one post with several different links. So I created a deep link for the 3500 milligram. I created a deep link, sort of like that, but I'll still know that on that day, I created that many links for whatever I'm using. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So yeah, and same like with like I was explaining to a lot of members too. Um, it's important to really utilize the ad channels go in there. Not just, I start my day like going under reports and check my daily reports first thing. If I see I have a commission, then I go to my commissions just to see who purchased it, see what they purchased. But for me, mostly it's just about the ad channel and seeing where those clicks go. Um, and yeah, the whole thing is don't get discouraged. There's going to be some days like yesterday, I probably got 4 clicks, but that's okay. That's okay. But at least my information is out there. I may have gotten 4 clicks on my computer, but you know what? Personal messaging through Messenger or personal emails or whatever, probably 20, 25 people, so you just don't know. Just because your computer, you're not getting the clicks on Facebook or Instagram doesn't mean people are going to be drawn into to your landing page.
Right.
And that's why, yeah. And it's for me, it's just because I create so many posts or videos or whatever, and then I see my ad channels every day, my channel stats report every day. It's hard to keep up with those numbers. So like you take for instance today, I come into my dashboard and it's April 1st. Now, if you go under your reports and look under your daily reports, well, now we're starting a new month. So I'm like, oh, well, what was yesterday's final, clicks? So I'm able to go into what I have yesterday because I keep track of yesterday's clicks and today's clicks, final clicks.
Right.
So then same like with now I can add up my whole month of April. If I wanted to, I can go back. So how many clicks did I total get for the month of April on educational videos? How many total clicks did I get for people checking out Sezzle or the military discount or the caramels? Even like when you're using Messenger, um, I create a special ad channel for Messenger, Facebook Messenger. That way I know that, hey, people are clicking through when I send a message out Messenger or my link out through Messenger. People are clicking that, and yeah, you can get sales through that too as well. So you can get sales from different multiple channels, and that's what's nice about the ad channels and the stats report is you can see where those sales are coming from, who's got the most sales, where. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a comment, in what you're saying makes perfect sense, because in every sales arena, whether I've been trained or I'm doing the training, I mean, the old say, you got to know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. You have to know. And back then it was dials, right? It was less electronic. I mean, I'm 49 years old. So, like how many dials did it take to even get in contact with somebody? How many contacts resulted in an appointment? How many appointments actually showed up, right? Didn't stand you up. And then that means how many sits did you have? And then out of how many sits, how many sales did you get? And so if you made 100 dials to get 2 sales and you say, well, I want to make, 6 sales. Well, it sounds to me like you need to make 300 dials. Does that make sense, Leandro? So it's the same thing here, different genre, same exact concept in that. And I do it, our marketing, and it's no secret. We don't advertise CBD BioCare in magazines or on websites. We don't do that. You guys do that. All we do is advertise the opportunity. And I have, at any given moment, I've got 5 different scripts out on various platforms. And I'm looking at the applications that come in. And there's always at least 20% of your garden that needs to be weeded and replanted for new growth. There's always a bottom 20%. No matter how good you are, there's only 100%. There's going to be a bottom 20. In your ad channel talk, GB, that's kind of what you're doing, because I've run some ads that I thought were going to kick butt, and you look and they're out there for 10 days and I got 3 applications. That's awful. Like you usually get 10 to 15 a day per job ad per day.
And that's what's nice about creating this app, or not app, but this system that I have, is now that I can say, excuse me, I have, like, the last 2 days I got clicked from this ad channel. But what's funny about it, these 2 clicks, is the last time I posted for that specific item or that ad channel was 4 days ago. So now I know that, hey, 4 days ago I posted this, but now a couple days later it's getting hits. You know what I'm saying? I can keep track of that way as well.
And that's true on my side too. It typically doesn't get traction until about the 3rd or 4th day. But then let's break it down even further. So you've done a fantastic job, GB, of identifying, hey, we've got Instagram. Hey, I've got 2-pack oils, right? Maybe we're not doing each milligram. But so for me, let's say I'm running ads in Texas, and Houston, Texas is actually a really good state for getting activity. And I have a particular ad in Houston that's working really, really well. The first thing I'm going to do, and picture Houston as an ad channel, right? Houston is an ad channel in this hypothetical. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a different ad with a different subject line targeting a different person in Houston. I want to know, is that geographically a hot spot, or is that ad hot in that geography? So let's hypothesize for a moment. Let's say we have a Facebook ad channel, your messenger, and within that you're sending sale items, you're sending free CBD posts. That's within the Facebook Messenger, and then we'll do one more, which is immunity boost. Well, let's say that immunity boost is kicking right there. The first thing I would do is I would put that in a different ad channel and see if it reacts the same way, because something's working. It's either the video that's on, it's the wording, all that makes a difference. And I would tell you this, it's the first, if you have a subject line, the subject line is really what you want to play with, because that's going to draw the eyes. So anytime, if you don't have a subject line, it's going to be that first 4 or 5 words, right, that are going to capture somebody. So it's one of 2 things or both. Either the ad you're running kicks butt and it will do well everywhere, and you'll find that as you work through the stats and know your numbers. Also, there may be, like, maybe TikTok. I know people get kicked off. I mean, these are all hypotheticals, but maybe a new thing comes along and it's like, it doesn't matter what ad you put there, it's hot, right? It's like Texas, it's just a hot location. I could put anything there and it's going to get decent numbers. However, if I put those same 3 ads that are really responding well in Topeka, Kansas, maybe one works. And if it does, I'm like, all right, now I got 2 places where I get this ad working. One of them's definitely geo hot, but Topeka's not. So let's put this in, like, New York, and against an ad that's not doing well here in Topeka. And then you start. I know that my analogy is a little bit different, and then I'm talking about states, but the state is the ad channel. And then the location is the different thing you're touting, whether it be education, whether it be a sale, whether it be COVID related, military related, whatever that pet related, whatever that genre, skincare. So again, GB, without going into the specifics, I mean, the dashboards, it might look complicated from a 10,000 foot view, But when you really get down to the tools that we actually use, there's only 3 or 4 things you really need to know. You know what I mean? But you should know those things well. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the thing of it too is that for people starting out, I don't expect you to go in and do what I do. I don't expect you to go in and create a whole bunch of ads, okay,
Right.
ad channels. Like I was telling a few other people, like Sherry and a couple others, when creating your ad channels, when you're just starting out, just create a few basics. Create just one singular Facebook ad channel, one specific, maybe Instagram, and just maybe a couple other ones, maybe for like deals or something like that.
Right.
And start out just to see how to utilize the ads and check your stats and numbers. Then you can say, hey, okay, now I'm really understanding the ads, the channels, the clicks, the repeat clicks, the unique clicks. Now I can go from there. How can I break it out? Now, well, you can break it out into different categories. You can break it out into your skincare products, your ad channels for all your skincare products, or simplify them down to the all naturals as opposed to just the regular skincare products. Same with the pet care line. You can break it out into that, your ad channels. You don't have to get carried away, like I said, because otherwise you're just going to be numbers, numbers, numbers. And you can really simplify it by using the same ad channel over and over and over again. But if you want to keep track of your stats, it's, by daily, like I do. I mean, I just make what is a Word Excel or whatever it is that I use to create that little easy program. I mean, me, man, I'm not tech savvy, but if I can learn it, anybody can really learn it. Cause I just, come along on the computer's like my new friend since about October, and I've come a long ways, and I really owe a lot. I've always been familiar with my dashboard, but I never utilized my dashboard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's well said. And for those who don't know, Glenn is a tradesman. He's been with us for some time. And in the beginning, it was, slow. COVID happens. He's got, stuck at home, and he starts learning things. And now he's creating videos. You say you're not tech savvy, but I'm beginning to believe that that's not an accurate statement anymore. Like, you may not have been, but you actually,
probably not
in this genre. You are. You really
probably
are.
not anymore. But good thing I have my oldest daughter. Both my daughters are straight A students. So when it comes to the field of technology, I would give them a grade A, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be half as far as I am.
I am tech savvy, but I'll tell you this: I can't tell you how many times I'm like, James, can you do this for me? I mean, honestly,
I'm the same way with my daughter.
Listen, here's what I would say: if we got some new people listening, or we got people that have been with us and they haven't really been utilizing their dashboard, first of all, the more you know your numbers in any kind of sales or any kind of business, the better off you're going to be, because you're making more educated decisions. You're working a little bit smarter than harder. I love doing both, working hard and smart. I really don't like working hard and not smart, right? Like hamster wheel type thing. So here's what I would do. We've got, for those of you who are listening and hear this before, I think tomorrow our sale starts, was it not, Leandro, for Easter? So obviously we're going to have some assets on the back end in your dashboard under marketing tools or whatever. Somebody correct me. There's going to be posts. You can create your own. You don't need to use our stuff, although I think our stuff's pretty damn good. And here's what I would do. If you're not used to working with ad channels and deep links, just take one of our ads, especially if you're not tech savvy, take one of the suggestions that we give for our sale. And I would always recommend, not one thing works, it all does. I would recommend that you have at least 3 different methods: Facebook, email, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, whatever. But I would have 3. Use one ad, let it run, or work it over the weekend. But one, it would be easier to just do the sale. So whatever's revolved around the sale on these 3, at least 3, advertising mechanisms. And then when the week's done on Tuesday, you want to look at those stats, right, GB? And you could say, hey, at least you'll get a good feel, because here's the thing: we're all individual. We all have different footprints in the social media landscape. So, hold on, so Windows is feeling, oh my gosh, Windows, stinking gates. Now, see, ADD, squirrel, now I'm lost. So if you have these, like, everybody's social and electronic footprint is different. So it's not suffice to say, hey, Facebook works best for us. Hey, Instagram works best for us. Hey, email works best for us. What if you have 8 million Facebook? Well, you can only have so many. Say you have 5,000 Facebook friends and you have 40 Instagram. Well, from a corporate standpoint, Instagram may be our hotline, but it's not going to be for that person. Does that make sense, Leandro? So the best thing to do is to figure out within your sphere of influence and your electronic footprint, whatever that looks like, begin to identify who's responding to you, who's reacting to you. And listen, also remember, the more you post, the more that footprint changes. So I wouldn't want somebody to see, let's take that scenario where Instagram is not performing, continue to use that and try to build that and follow kind of what Leandro does with hashtags and things. And there's little tricks of the trade. You don't need to know all the specifics other than know that the more you post, the more that footprint's going to change. So nothing's static in this environment. It's all real time. So what I wouldn't want you to do, like we could do in the days past, is like, hey, leaving a message on somebody's voicemail doesn't work. We knew that didn't work, right? And that's never going to change. But the more you post on Instagram, the more you put relative content, that is going to change. So I wouldn't want us to go, oh, well, I recognized in the beginning, based on what I'm saying, like evaluate your advertising mechanisms, use a kind of a similar, like a sale, or don't change it up too much so you can get an honest appraisal with the same advertising over the range of your networks or your ad channels. Then you can evaluate that, but don't take that evaluation with you and have the same thought process or paradigm 6 months from now, because it's not going to be relevant. You always have to be in your numbers and know your numbers. And I think a lot, in fact, I know a lot of people miss that. I mean, it was hard just to get people to put a little tick when they made a dial. You know, hey, I made a dial, tick. Hey, I made a dial, tick. Hey, I made a dial, and I got a contact, and I got an appointment. You know what I mean? And then you could look, you'd be like, man, it took me 85 dials to get 4 contacts to get 2 appointments. Now that data set in and of itself, here's another thing, guys, you have to, there's no snapshot. The larger the pool of data, the larger the amount of data that we have, the more solid the result is, the more dependable the result is. So you may do 85 dials today, you know, we're talking in theory, right? You may do 85 whatever today and get 2, but you may do that 85 tomorrow and get 9. So I'm more looking, what does it look like over 850 dials? Then I got a more solid number. Does that make sense? So I talk all the time about activity breeds activity. Activity breeds confidence, but activity also breeds knowledge if you're listening to GB and you're getting into your dashboard and reading and responding to the metrics. That's why it's all there. The e-com, when you think about, and I thought this too, honestly, when I started CBD BioCare, I knew it was going to be harder than most people think it is. I think a lot of people think all you have to do is have a decent product, put up a website that's pretty, you know, do some blogging, and you just got a recurring revenue stream. It couldn't be any further from the truth. I mean, honestly, it probably, and this is a smaller group, it probably, I'd say cost me around $40,000, $50,000 a year just in maintenance and upkeep of our e-platforms. I mean, there's no, let's get a Weebly site, throw up 8 products, and we're going to be, you know, sitting in Bahamas sipping Mai Tai. It doesn't work like that. And based on some of the stuff that we've talked about, you know, through reading through our book and talking about success principles, there's no reason to expect that if you're realistic. But a lot of people just don't know. It doesn't mean they're, you know, not smart. It just means that they're not familiar with it. They don't know really what it takes. And I love GB, your sincerity rings. And I can tell you, I've been with some organizations where a guy like you be like, man, I did this, I started killing it, and this and that. I love when you say, be patient. There's the law.
Yeah, you know,
there's the law.
be patient. Absolutely.
You
be
know,
patient.
You got it. Preparation. Like I used to hear somebody say, hey, 90, showing up's 90%. That's a bunch of crap. Showing up prepared is 90% of it. So well, it's that definition. And then I want to hear what you have to say. It's that definition that success is preparedness met with opportunity. CBD BioCare is an opportunity for everybody. But some people, all people, to some degree, need to be prepared for that. And GB, I haven't seen your numbers personally, but I know Jill's talking about you doing really well right now. And I remember back in the day where you were on our calls, but you really weren't making sales. So you, by doing your own research, GB, by getting in there and getting hands-on and just working through it, you've prepared yourself now to take advantage of this opportunity. And you've prepared yourself to take advantage of leadership and training and, you know, guiding people that are very helped by, you know, what. So your hindsight is their foresight.
Still preparing myself.
Oh man, not a preach,
it never stops. But yeah, and you know, and that's the thing too, is that I got to reach out to other reps. It's not just me. It's people like Todd and and Doug and
Dana, Victor,
Beatrice and
Beatrice.
Dana. I mean,
Absolutely.
the list goes on and on of so many people that you see in here weekly as well. So hats off to you guys too, because without that Facebook group page, I mean, I can't always get on there to answer questions, but that's what's there is because we all come together as a team and stuff. And it's like and when we jump back to the word patience, patience is what we got to have because I had a gentleman, matter of fact, just today I got a message from a gentleman that said, and the message was pretty forward. If you want my money, tell me what CBD is about. To me, I'm like, well, and how do I respond to something pretty forward to that? So I came back and I said, hello, my name is Glenn. I know you don't know me, but I'm not actually out for your money. I'm actually out for the health and wellness of you. I'm here to educate you on what CBD is. Don't let anybody's negativity or how they come about change your approach to the way you want to represent CBD and what it means to you. So I turned to a situation where he was pretty aggressive to some of the comments and messages that he got back, and I was, me, I'll make a stranger my best friend because that's what it's all about.
Right.
And by the time that we got, after about an hour's worth of messaging back and forth, he like apologizes. He says, I'm sorry the way I came off, but he's like, man, you are genuine, and just the way I took the approach with this stranger I don't even know, who's from another state, and just made him feel that that's why we are so transparent, is because we want to educate. We're here for you. We're here to help you. And yeah. And then he was just like, wow. He's like, you're just on top of it, and not only did I just send him messages, but I sent him a couple of links to our videos. I sent him a link to some of our oils and stuff like that through Messenger. And that's what's great about messengers. You can be able to, I can be in quick hurry up and send them that links as we're talking. And it's just amazing that his attitude within an hour changed. And I'm like, wow, I just helped. I mean, hopefully I helped somebody, out, which is great. So hopefully that kind of reflects on everybody else. I mean, just to give you an insight of, some of the situations that you might come across, but just like, don't get down, be patient upon yourself, especially with clicks, especially with posting things. My numbers aren't always high, but I don't give up. I just every day. It's like taking a medicine. You can't expect a medicine to happen overnight. You have to be patient. You have to let that work, just like with CBD, just like with all of us. We have to be patient. We have to let things take their time and do what they're meant to do. So yeah, if I can help anybody too. So same like with making videos and stuff. If you reach out to me in a private message or something like that, or messenger or whatever, and you like to use my videos, and because a lot of times I end with my own personal stuff like coupon code Glenn or whatever, I can alter those videos and change them to help you guys. I don't mind. I don't expect any money like that. We're on the same team, and it's my pleasure if I can help you guys get more sales, and that's what it's about. So yeah.
Rising waters raise all ships, right, Leon?
Absolutely. My God is, my God it taught me how to give. It gives, and it teaches my kids too as well the importance to give without expecting. So.
Well, that's a true gift of giving. The definition is giving without expectation of return.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's hard. We're human beings. We've learned how we have to fight against that. Those wonderful attributes because of our humanness, or as I would say, our flesh.
And I don't know everything, but I'll definitely do my best to help anybody out.
If you knew everything, buddy, I'd move
I know.
down here with me.
Oh, I know.
Yes, Miss Patriot.
You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, Glenn, what you're saying goes back to what you taught us in the very beginning, man. In order to get what we want, you have someone else get what they want. And I've been using that principle, not only with CBD, but in another project that we're working on, and it works every time. Particularly when you're sincere, Glenn, and that's what's come across. You don't have any fancy sales skill, you don't know slick sales rep, but your sincerity comes through. And one thing I have learned with this, technique doesn't sell CBD, passion does, genuine passion. And
Absolutely.
That's what you have, and you're going to be successful. I mean, all these people you're helping, you're just planting seeds, and you're going to sow.
You said it right there. You planting the seeds. Beatrice, when I first started this company, that was my motto to myself: is planting the seeds. The seeds will grow. I'm so glad you said that. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but before I forget, Sweetheart, I just want to say thank you because you touched my heart this week more than you
That
know.
embarrassed me.
Sweetheart, you took me by surprise. I got that box and said, wait a minute, I'm not expecting this. What is this? Why is CB BioCare sending me a box? And I opened that up and wow, I got some
You don't know.
caramels and a nice card. And thank you so much. Bless your heart. And
Bless
you know what? And the thing that gets me too is that you touch me by a lot of your comments because you give a lot of insight by the people that you talk to as well. So I get to see it from your point of view and say, oh, she's got a lot of great points. So believe me, every time someone speaks, I take that into consideration. I'm learning from you guys just as much as you guys are learning from me. So I want to thank you all. And thank you, Beatrice.
For those who don't know, Beatrice sent Glenn a care package with our chocolate salted CBD caramels, which we all know Glenn has kind of probably an unhealthy way for those things.
Yeah, and I had to share one with my wife, but I had to hide the other. So.
Yes, thank you, Beatrice. And we have so many. I mean, honestly, this culture that we've built is so cool. I mean, and I was thinking, sorry for the gum. This is so bad etiquette, but hey, we're in the nest, right? The people that don't respond to our authenticity are not people that are supposed to respond to our authenticity. You all know that I'm a man of faith, so I believe that God directs the steps of the righteous. It's in a book. And I was watching, y'all know Medea, right? Oh man, I love Medea. I can kind of do it. Catherine loves it, which is why I kind of did it. But it's when she's in the chair, she goes, hold on, I gotta work it. Leandra's over here laughing like there's no sound. You just hear the wind, and it's like it's hard to get in character here. All right, here we go. I'm gonna try it. Sometimes God trying to take somebody out of your life, and we're holding on so tight, and you just gotta let them go. Let them go. God wants to take them out of your life. Don't let them go. And I feel like when we're active, Glenn, and we got a lot of feelers out there and we're trying to help people, the one person or the two people or the five people that don't respond to our authenticity are people that don't share that value. I told you guys that Simon Sinek did that talk about, you look at the 3 or 4 reasons that most organizations and or companies fail, right? It's lack of funding, not proper access to great talent. I mean, there's a certain 2-3 things that pretty much, you use as the reasons, like the 4 main reasons. And he did a study on historical people where that wasn't the case. And he did the Wright brothers, he did Martin Luther King, and a couple other historical references. And I was really liking Martin Luther King. He's one of my favorite guys. And he wasn't, so he poked holes in this theory of the things that make an organization and or leadership work. And he wasn't the only African-American orator in preacher speaking or orator speaking against, for civil rights. He definitely wasn't the most well-funded, right? He was a Baptist preacher. So how then is the question that Simon asked, did Martin Luther King get 250,000 people to the lawn that day for his speech without email, text, electronic reminders, electronic calendars? How did that happen? And his theory, which I agree with, and he backs it up, I mean, I'm marginalizing this, that the reason those 250,000 people showed up was not for Martin Luther King. It was for themselves, because he was really the only one who was speaking what he believed. Others at that time, and if you look historically, I think we can all agree that they were talking more about the result or the plan or the fix. All he talked about was what he believed. So when we do that, when we act authentic, I call it nerding up. When we nerd up and we just are confident in who we are, and we live and we speak and we act what we believe, then people are going to join in, not because we're dynamic, not because we're attractive or well-spoken. It's because they believe what we believe. And the only reason they're joined up with us is because we had the confidence. Boy, it was right there. I mean, it like made the middle of the lip, dude. It was almost out. The only reason, the people who had the confidence to nerd up and be who they are and live what they believe and speak what they believe are going to have people that surround themselves with that person, Not because, again, he's dynamic, he or she is dynamic or anything other than they know that there's a similarity and a likeness in belief systems. So that's why I say, if you're going to, like, I remember, I'm from Florida, I'm from Tampa, like 20 miles from here. And when I was younger, Leandro, I had so many friends. I mean, my cell phone was ringing off the hook all night long. And then I've had some of the struggles that I've shared with you guys. And, you know, when you go through times like that, your friend list slims down a little bit, some by choice, some by not. But now I've realized that if you got a ton of friends and you don't have any kind of controversy in your life, I'm not saying you're a bad person, but I would submit that you're probably pretty vanilla. You probably are not a big agent of change. You don't really speak out against those things. And these are not bad things. I'm just identifying. There's no right or wrong. But if you are a person of conviction and you are a person who has a belief system and has a way of thinking and has an opinion and speaks what he or she believes, you're going to cause detractors. If you don't have an opinion, no one's going to disagree with you. If you have an opinion and you speak it, especially in this world, you're going to have detractors. So I'd rather have a real tight group around me and subject myself to the possibility that there's going to be haters or people that are adamantly against what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm a man of faith. I believe if you're being attacked, then you're making a difference. So that's the same genre, right? Like if I'm making a difference, I will tell you this, and listen, this is the absolute truth. Every single time I've ever been on a missions trip, the month prior, 2 weeks prior, 3 weeks prior, 1 week prior, day of, in the middle of it, our family, something happens. And I mean, years ago, I've been doing it for like 12 years now, but I'd say maybe 6, 7 years ago, it got to the point where like, it was numbingly predictable. And so I would get family together and be like, okay, I'm planning a trip. We know what's going to happen. Let's pray it out. Let's be expecting of it. Let's be tough. Let's understand it's coming. And it did. And it always did. And for those of you who aren't of faith, you don't have to believe that. I don't care. But believe in the concept that if you're speaking what you believe, GB, if you're authentic all the time and you get somebody who doesn't, there are people that don't like authenticity. You know that, right? They don't like it. It makes them uncomfortable. They may, you know, and typically those people are what I call manipulators. Like they'll poke fun at you or say something and go, oh, I'm just kidding. That's a manipulator. Or if they say something that offends us and they go, oh, you need to toughen up, or, you know, don't be so sensitive. That's a manipulator. That's not a person I want to associate with. I'm not saying that I'm not, you know, going to like them or anything, but I don't want to be around somebody who does that. So I know I went on a tangent here, but I would advocate for all of us to have a conviction. And we don't have to have posters. I'm not a protester. I'm not that guy. In fact, a lot of times I'm not called to be an agent of change. But sometimes, Leandro, I'm made aware that I'm being more provocative than I think I am. And I'll give you guys all an example. I used to do a lot of public speaking, traveled around, and, you know, a lot of times, probably most of the time it was rooms of 100, but then 4, 5, 6 times a year, it'd be rooms of 5,000. And I always talk about Jesus. I mean, it's just who I am. What do I say? I mean, it's like I'd be talking like and not acknowledge that I'm male. I mean, it's who I am. And I would have people come after and they would thank me. They go, oh, I can't believe your courage. And it was so hard. I was like, what courage? Like, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say, you know, like to me, it wasn't courageous at all. But I also had people who started hating on Matthew, right? It just is what it is. And that's why that self-worth is, I mean, do you see how it all ties in? It's all tying into this self-worth and having, you know, being active and having your own, the thing that makes it, the reason you were able to be authentic, GB, is because you didn't need that dude. You didn't need him.
No, and you're right. I didn't.
I don't care. I love you. I want to help you. Here you go, big fella. You keep your bitterness. But then what happened? He ended up being of like kind and interest and value system that you are, because you had the balls to be who you were.
And that's just it, is that I don't know if this man has a mental issue or not. You don't know. And I'm not a person to judge. So someone might reach out to you, and he reached out to me. So I can't give up.
Yeah.
Despite what, I mean, if it's one thing that 2020 has definitely taught me, is that you can say hi to somebody and they're going to get pissed because you didn't say hello.
Yeah.
You're going to have haters for just about anything and everything these days. So take it with a grain of salt, because there's a million grains of salt in a shaker. So just shake those hatred out and move on. It's not worth it. But usually I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I can usually say that, hey, or hello, hi, or how are you? And just by those first comments that come out of their mouth, I'm usually pretty much a good character of how that conversation is going to go, or not just say, hey, just because somebody says, hey, how are you? And that's such a bad tone does not give me the right to judge that person. Maybe they're having a bad day. I don't know, but that doesn't mean give up on them, treat them with disrespect or like that. I'm here to represent me and who I am, because I want them to, in the end, come to somebody who they can trust and, and talk to if they have a question or a problem. So that, and that's just like you say, it comes down to being genuine.
Yeah. Well, and you have to have self-confidence, because a lot of times, oh, I was offended. I'm offended. He caused me. Well, he did this. And to me, I'm a competitive guy. I'm kind of a little bit of a red ass in some areas. And this is one of them where if they get me angry and they get me to respond at the frequency that they're giving me, then they win. And it happens. Hey, I get beat sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's just the wrong time of the day. Sometimes it's just the right comment at the wrong moment. And I feel, because I've told this story when it's a simple story. Me and my buddy Todd, he used to work here. We're at a four-way stop. Okay. We're at a four-way stop. Everybody knows there's an etiquette that you're supposed to follow at a four-way stop. So we're here. This person goes, and the person behind her goes too. Well, you'd have thought somebody like insulted Todd's mom. He was pissed. He was bitching about it for 2 blocks. And finally I go, Todd, and listen, this will be a PG-13 moment here. So earmuffs for those who may not want to hear a bad word. I go, Todd, that chick, that girl made you her bitch. She's affected you and your emotion for 2 blocks. And now she, through you, has affected me. She doesn't even know you exist, dude. She drove off. Yet here you are, mad about something you have no control over. You've changed the whole energy of the car. And Todd's my best friend. I've known him since I was 14. So, I mean, I can have this kind of conversation with him. I'm normally not like that. But it just seems so obvious. And when people make you mad, or they take me out of my peace, it's on me. It's not them. And I know that I know I'm bringing sand to the beach to this group, but that's the truth. I mean, you don't let people run us around and run our emotions around. But if we don't develop ourselves, if we're not active in trying to attain what our heart's desires are, we don't have the kind of self-worth to be all right for somebody to call me an a-hole and keep moving. I mean, when I was a younger kid, guys, I'm telling you, if somebody told me to F me, it was on. You don't do that to me. Now it's like, I'm not that important. It doesn't mean anything. I was at a meeting once, and I've told the story before. And a guy stands up and he goes, my wife always pushing my buttons. Every time I come home, she's pushing my buttons. Every time I say something, pushing my buttons, making me angry. And some guy in the back of the room goes, you need better button covers. Like, come on, bro. I mean, take some dominion, right? What else does she have in her pocketbook, right, Leandro? So anyway, and I said this once in front of Stacy, and she said, amen, and you'll appreciate this. I go, what I say when it comes out of my mouth is just a frequency of sound. And she goes, amen. Until it hits your ear. It has no meaning. If someone were to walk in and was speaking Cantonese, we would hear the sound, but it would have no meaning. Take that down to the English language. When someone says something to us, it doesn't have meaning until we give it meaning. And what I mean by that is, if you've got somebody who's verbally mean to us or says something, I always like thinking, I wonder what's going on in their life to produce that, right? I want to get on another wavelength. Does that make sense? So anyway, I know I've been jabbering on. Does anybody have a comment, suggestion, error, omission, addition, care, or concern?
Victor, he shared, it's not what you feel, it is what you don't.
It's not what you feel, it's what you don't. Ooh, I like that. That's like the nail, right? In the dog. Does it hurt enough? Does it matter enough to have integrity? Are you sure enough that you're gonna make the amount of money or success you have by doing the right things all the time? Or is integrity and character expendable at times due to desperation? And if so, why are we desperate? I always reverse engineer. I'm just going back and back and back and back and back. I want to find the root cause. I'll share something with you right now. I think I'm getting psoriasis. It is the worst for anybody who's ever had it. It's like horrible cracks on my hands and feet. And Dr. Deanna was here, who's my physician, and I just told her about it like a week ago. And I caught her coming out of the studio and chatted with her for a minute. And her first question is, are you taking any steroidal topicals to help? Because it really gets, I mean, it looks as good as it has in a long time right now. And then, long story short, at the end of it, she's asking me if I'm taking a probiotic. Why? Because the root cause is from the gut. So it's like, there's always two questions to ask. First, especially at CBD BioCare, I mean, you get a customer or a rep who calls with a problem, we need to fix that problem. That's the first thing. What's the immediate fix? And then once that's fixed, then we take a look at it and say, what's the systemic issue? How can we keep this from happening again? What change can we make in my diet in taking a probiotic? What things can I do to change the result? But what I really want to do is find the magic salve that I rub it on, and next day I wake up and it's gone. How different is that from our own success drive? We want to put the salve on our success and wake up tomorrow and have it. But the reality is it takes time. It's the approach, right? GB, we talked about that, the law of timing, the law of process, the law of the lid, right? An animal can't outgrow its cage. If you're here and you're not developing yourself and you're not making room for growth, you're not going to grow. And that's
Absolutely.
why that's why you have to be active. That's why we're here. I mean, I'm bringing sand to the beach. We're all here to raise our lid, are we not? And I'm here too. Don't think for a moment that I come here and I'm like, oh, I got to go raise my lid after I leave here, because this raises my lid too. There's huge value to me in this. Go ahead, Glenn.
Well, no, it just comes back to what we've talked about many times before, and just ask yourself, well, what do I want out of CBD BioCare?
Yeah,
it's what you put in, it's what you get out. I mean, if you want a few sales and you're only going to put a couple hours into your business, then so be it. But if you apply yourself, amazing things can happen. Just give it time, give it yourself patience. It will happen.
I talked to a lady or communicated with a lady, one of our reps, and she has, I can tell the figure because I'm not going to tell you who it is, but she makes about $375, $400 a month. So I'd say it's, somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 every pay period. She started some time ago. She touts auto ship. So her whole goal was to create an auto ship income that was her car payment. And she did it. And she's still moving. I mean, she wants that to grow, but that was kind of her first kind of metric. Conversely, we have people that make multiple six figures. Honestly. So you're exactly right. You're going to get what you get or get what you give, right?
And the thing of it is I'm not, and I'll say that I'm not a top salesman. I'm by far a top salesman. I have sales, absolutely, but I'm in that realm right now where I have a lot on my plate that I know I will be successful, and it just comes down to what you just said. It's about timing.
Yeah,
it really
but
is.
If you could look at your numbers, Glenn, I mean, I looked at them some time ago and you were already trending. So if you look look at health metrics, right? Clicks, repeated clicks, you know what I mean? Just those are health metrics. The results will come if the health metrics are right. We're never going to run 10 miles if we got a weak heart, right? You got to do heart health first before you can run the 10 miles. And that's what you've done. You've created a health value system for your business. And now that's beginning to take root. So I look at trends. I mean, results can be like, think about this. A result is what's in the bank account. What's in the bank account is important, right? It's the amount of cash you have. But it's not a great health metric. Because what if I look in our bank account and I've got $300,000 in there, but Stacy wrote a check for a new place for $310,000, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes the instant result that we see is not indicative of the health. I'll give you another example. In the previous world, we were in and we still are, in a kind of a very system-driven environment. I know that our way is not the only way. I do. I know that there are other ways, but I know our way works. And I know our way. So if someone comes in and they create new ad mechanisms, that's fine. But we can't train that. Does that make sense? So I don't know how true this statement is in this arena, but it was very true in the old arena. And we could take the theory of it and predicate it over anything else. And that is, sometimes the worst thing that can happen to us is for us to find a little success doing the wrong thing, right? Doing the wrong thing. What if I put out a post and I get a person who, I'm a wholesaler, and they buy 30 bottles of oil, and I'm like, okay, I'll just that's what works. Like, we know that that's not replicatable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I gotta say too that a lot of times when I get messages, it happens all the time, is that people will say to me, "Hey, listen, I saw your post a month ago. I saw your post a few weeks ago." So you may not get clicks,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you know people are seeing your posts.
Or
So
yeah, and then when you do, they got a cookie, and they can go
absolutely.
out of town and come. It's when we put our faith in our activity and stop. Now, results are important. We've talked about that. You have to know your numbers, see the results. That's a leadership. That's a guiding tack. But if we put our faith and our peace in our activity, use the result as a navigating tool, not as an emotional tool. Get emotional about your activity. That's what it's all about. And that's what I'm saying. If you got to make 500 dials to make 5 sales, then get emotional about that 500 dials, period. And that's why you need to know your numbers, so that you know what you need to do to have the healthy expectation. And then for me, it's easier. Honestly, the only 2 things if I'm doing it right, now I'm not saying I do this all the time, but if I'm doing it right, the only 2 things that I would be concerned about, worried about, thinking about would be my attitude and my effort. Effort meaning my activities, attitude meaning the health and wealth and spirit with which I engage in those activities. Because honestly, that's all I can control. I can't control whether somebody buys or not. All I can do is control how I interact with them. I can't. I mean, if we could, and I say we, I'm more upset at myself, because it's like, it's so much easier. If this activity isn't generating this, then I need to look at my activity. I don't need to sit around and sulk about my results. I don't need to sit around and speculate or assume. The activity is what I can control. And maybe I didn't do it enough. Maybe I didn't do it the right way. Maybe I didn't do it with the right mindset. Maybe I need to engage in more quadrant 2 activities and raise my lid. Maybe there's a law of timing happening, law of processing. When I first start working out, after I gain weight, like right now, I need to start working out again. After 5 days of working out, I feel like I'm walking around like jacked. And then I look in the mirror and I feel like I'm more fat, right? It's like, I thought I was skinny, but I'm not. Because for me, the muscle and the fat start to separate a little bit. So you see things like things are sitting a little differently than they were. You're like, wait a minute, I don't know, I don't like this. But I'm not yelling at my stomach saying, you suck, why aren't you responding? I just need to get back in there and do more. That's all my stomach doesn't listen to me. Hell, I don't even listen to me. I can't get in the damn gym. All right, hey,
another thing
I got to
too.
fly to my audiologist. I want to, there's not too much left to cover. If you have this book, and I'd rather do this. And I'm going to tell you a story real quick. My son wants to get a job. He's 14 years old. I got a job when I was 14. Back then we had, on Davis Island, we had one of the last self-serve gas stations. I was a gas station attendant. Like, I was the guy who pumped thing, checked tires, checked oil, full service gas. Hotter than hell. Dude wouldn't turn on the AC unit in the little cubby. So it was like 110 degrees, and it was a terrible job. But I wanted to earn money. So my son's in the same spot. So I'm like, all right, I get that. So I'm talking about Publix, which is right down the road. He wants to work with me. And I'm like, hell no. Your first job's got to be for somebody else, because I don't like, that would be the horrible way to set a work precedent, right? Hey, son, too bad you're late, right? So he does want to get a job, and he will. And then I'm thinking about it, and I go, you know what? I would love for my son to know some of this stuff. Not all of it, just some of it, right? To know that we're egotistical, to know nobody really gives a crap about him, to know that he needs to help others before he gets what he wants, right? To know these principles. So I told him, I'm going to give him $100 to read this book. He gets a chance to make another 50 with 2 conversations, one at about page 90, the other at the end. And so if I feel like during that those 2 conversations, like he's read it and we can talk about it and he's thoughtful about it, I'm not looking to kick him out. I'm going to give him another 25, right, for having the conversation, to be able to articulate what he's read. And then in the end, I said, you have to write down at least 5 things that made a meaningful impact in your life. Hopefully it'll be more than that, but at least 5. You do those things, $150 for reading a book. Man, I got about 400 books, and I'll pay $150 for that young man to read every single one of them. So this is very valuable to me, but I do like this kind of interaction where we're just kind of spitballing, and that's cool too. So having said that, I'll tell you what I was going to do, and you guys could do it yourself, is on page 236 is in a nutshell, and it's just the principle from each chapter. And so what I would do is read that principle. If you don't really understand what he's saying, delve back into that chapter. you don't have to read the whole chapter. You kind of glance and kind of see where he's going. But that's what I was going to do. So that's it. We just did it.
Awesome.
You like how that works?
Yeah.
That's my years of speaking. I mean, you just compress it. Hey, we just did the review. Feeling good. The next book, I know I was going to do I'm going to read this again. We go through it. Let's just stay reactive, and be able to malleable with the way the energy of this thing goes and how it works out. But this is a book. Now, this book was given to me. Most of my greatest books, by the way, were given to me. And for those of you who don't know, every time we read a book, I buy one copy for each member of my staff. Because some of the books that I wanted to read the most were given to me. This one was given to me by one of my best friends in the world, a guy I respect very, very dearly. He is an absolute man of God. He's a Chick-fil-A operator. I play golf with him once a week. He's my bestest buddy in the whole world. And this is it. And I have not read it yet. I have read the foreword, but this is it. 9 things you simply must do to succeed in love and life. This is not a sales book. We didn't do sales last time. This isn't really a sales book. This is a how to get along in life book. I think this is the same thing. Billy and I did play golf, and we did talk about this quite, for like a little bit on the golf course. So I have some understanding of why he gave it to me. I haven't read it. I don't know. I've read, pretty much Bill and I are pretty equally yoked when it comes to the books we like. So based on our history, I would imagine I'm going to like this a lot. But to be honest with you, I got to read a book I hadn't read yet. So I want to do this one. And if we get into it and it sucks, we'll get out of it. No big deal. Right? All right. So it's 9 things you simply must do to succeed in love and life. And the gentleman, so this book was used by Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is the reason I was introduced to Andy Andrews, because they'll hire this guy to come in and talk with their operators, and they'll do a weekend. And so this guy is a guy that Chick-fil-A is using for all their operators, and his name is Dr. Henry Cloud. Dr. Henry Cloud. Okay. So listen, next week we'll do, I'll get with you in just a second, Cheryl. Next week, so that you all have time, or anybody who wants to, if you're on Facebook, next week we'll do just kind of like this, based on Monday and how the week goes, we'll come up with something fun that's, and then give those 2 weeks so that we can get the books in. Because we know USPS is moving a little slower, and, things are not happening the way they used to. So in 2 weeks, we're going to start, I'm already reading it. I'll get you guys all order your copies tomorrow, and hopefully they'll come in by next Monday or Tuesday, I would imagine. But I'm going to start reading it ahead, and I have a good feeling about it. I don't know the reason that it's a feeling.
Val said, I read other Dr. Henry Cloud books, and I love them. Great choice.
Awesome. Who said that, Val?
Val.
Awesome. Cheryl, did you have something, hon? You're still muted. You're muted.
What was the first book that you were talking about?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'll keep you guys, my son says he's very excited to read this book and make $150. I'll keep you informed on if that happens.
And who's that by?
His energy, not mine, that's for sure. Did you get that, Cheryl? You feel good about it?
Who's that by?
Dale Carnegie.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Matthew,
I
I just
gotta
want to
run to
give
my
a big
audiologist.
shout out really quick. Just want to say thanks for giving me the platform today, and let me get some words of advice out to help some newbies, and appreciate another wonderful Zoom call. And just want to say happy Easter to everybody. Have a great weekend.
Oh yeah, happy Easter. Hey man, the stone was rolled away, baby. That's where is thy stick.
Absolutely, he is risen.
Woo! Man, I get excited at Easter. All right, love you guys. Have a great day.